That's right, people. That's right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Brother Seamus show. Previously known as Truth Bomb Memes. Previously known as Truth Bomb Memes. It's funny that it's showing that Truth Bomb Memes tag on the screen, which is fine. It won't interfere with what we're doing here tonight, but I want you to know that we're shifting our brand a little bit. Okay? We're shifting our brand over to the Brother Seamus show, and we're gonna go hot. We're gonna go live up on YouTube. And then we're going to post it over. We started on Facebook, and I liked the idea of being on Facebook and being ironic about the fact that I'm saying some things that might be construed as anti-Facebook, and that is true. I am anti-Facebook. But that's not the main. Let me make this clear. That I'm not trying to kill Facebook. I'm trying to stop Facebook from killing us, okay? Or I'm trying to stop Facebook from polluting the public sphere with so much questionable and outright toxic disinformation that really ends up making us hate and distrust each other. People have figured out that that's what you can do with Facebook. So I want Facebook to own up to the fact that their platform, their product, while they claim it's free, their product gets people sick and killed. And the other social media platforms like YouTube are just as guilty, but Facebook has a much bigger market share, okay? Okay, Facebook has a much bigger market share. And whatever the case, YouTube is easier to stream on, so that's what I'm going to do. And we'll provide the link over on Facebook. I only have a few minutes tonight. This is going to be a short one, so let's jump right into it. I've got my coffee. I told you my name's Brother Seamus. I'm a psychologist and an ordained minister in the Church of the Latter-day Dude. And yes, it's a real church, people. The Church of the Latter-day Dude. Now, I'm an atheist. I should say that part, too. I want you to understand that I'm an atheist. I'm not one of those atheists, though, that is so convinced that I'm right, because I don't know, man. I don't know. I think ultimately quantum physics will prove the existence of God. But I don't think we can grasp what that means, and I don't think we should try too hard, and we certainly shouldn't kill each other over the fact that we might grasp God differently. That sounds a little molesty. Grasping God. Don't grab my giblets. Don't grab my giblets, boy. That's private. Yeah, don't grab God by the giblets. Do pick up your telephone, your cellular device, your smartphone, your in-wall analog, old-fashioned AT&T mall bell phone, and dial in the area codes 509-676-6032. And I think it'll ring on my end, and if it does, I will turn down this music that you're hearing. This is part of the show, is that we make loops. We make loops and stuff, and we share that with you during the show. And there's a young Bigfoot that comes in and dances sometimes, named Bigfoot for Democracy. This is the Brother Seamus show. We do it up weird, but we do it up right. I want you to call in because I don't want this just to be me rambling on. And I also think that I'm funnier when I'm talking to people. So, hey, look. Maybe that's God right there. Maybe. No, that's a Richard Nixon doll or it's a Richard Nixon duck figure with a baby head doll thing. I call it Godhead baby. So I don't want to kill Facebook. I don't want to destroy Facebook. I don't want to cause anyone to lose their job, because I know that people work at Facebook. Real, regular people work at Facebook, and it's probably a wonderful job. And I want all of you to keep your jobs. I want Facebook to add more workers. I want them to spend some of the billions that they've made to pay for moderators who can use a little bit of science to say, hey, you can't sell products based on the idea that you just made up. We don't even have to go down the whole vaccine rabbit hole, but let's say you want to convince people vaccines don't work, even though now people, billions of arms, right? Billions of shots, and they've proven effective and not terribly harmful. Way less harmful than the virus itself, and that's all we can do. But my point is, Facebook gets you thinking stuff, and they get you pissed off, and they tell you stuff like, oh, there's an invasion coming, right? There's an invasion coming. There's not really. We definitely have an immigration problem, and even Democrats agree with that. But what is that problem? How do we address it humanely? And I'm not a Christian, but Jesus was right. We all know Jesus was right. Many of you claim to be Christian, but you want to do such horrendous things to people coming across the border. They're not coming here to hurt us. That's the main thing. But if you have a very powerful lie machine and you want to get people convinced and scared, you can go on Facebook and you can post an article about an invasion at the southern border, and it's going to scare a lot of people. Now, some of you are going to say, yeah, but I don't read that stuff. I just go right past that stuff. And good for you. Don't read that stuff, and don't give it a thumbs up. And even if you don't like it, don't give it an angry face. Don't give them any information about you, because then what they do is they target you based on your own reactions to things. And the reaction they like the best is the angry face. So if you see my show and it pisses you off, and some of you are going to be pissed off, but let me just say this. As a psychologist, I'm not trying to do anything political with you here. I don't care who you vote for. I care that you're not getting your brain tricked by really emotional, non-factual things. And the best way to trick people is to scare them first, right? That's why right-wing extremism right now, what it's counting on most is to scare you into thinking people like me, some redneck liberal guy, some elitist guy, or however you want to group me, the goal is to scare you into thinking I'm your enemy, and I'm not. I think we got to figure out what to do about the border. I'm not in favor of separating, cruelly and viciously and traumatically separating children from their parents. Not in favor of that. Can we figure out a solution that works? That's called being reasonable. Another application of the word reasonable is, let's say that your candidate lost the election, but let's say that his ego is so hurt that he has to start lying about the fact that there was voter fraud. So he lies and he lies and he lies, and it turns out a news network joins him. Several news networks join him, one big one, and they lie and they lie and they lie. And the way you know this is true, you don't even really need to look anything up. The way that you know they're lying is because Trump had more money than God, and he had the best attorneys money could buy. If there was any proof, he would have nailed it in court. He would have nailed it already. Why would he be sitting back not nailing it? he would have been nailing that shit, and you know it. And I don't even like the guy, but he's smart enough to know how to file a lawsuit. So this here's the Brother Seamus show. We got all kinds of cool stuff coming your way. We are going to talk about everything, and some of you are going to be mad, and that's okay. I would like you to call up anyway. We can talk about it like reasonable people. We can talk about it like reasonable people. However, if you're just going to launch into a whole bunch of QAnon nonsense, as I like to call it, I understand how you got there, and I hope you can get out of there. And if I were you, I would run. And I'm saying this as a psychologist, not as a redneck liberal. Get the F out of conspiracy theories, people, because they're going to get you twisted up. And the first thing I'd recommend, if you are, and I'm serious about this, if you are captured in a certain way of thinking, a lot of the January 6th defendants ended up saying, we went there because Trump told us to go there, but more importantly, they said after they got convicted, many of them doing several years in jail, because you can't assault police officers just because you're mad about an election, turns out. But you were lied to. You went to jail because you were lied to. And I forgot what my damn point was going to be, except to say, if you're caught up in QAnon nonsense, think about what some of these guys and gals, mostly guys, they ended up saying after they were arrested. They said, I realize now that I was tricked, right? Because, getting dragged into court and getting prosecuted and going to jail tends to open people's eyes about where the law is. Now, Trump thinks he's above the law. He's trying to go for that. But all of the regular people that got tricked, when you're trapped inside of a QAnon hole, one of the ways, or any conspiracy, QAnon's just one of many. It's one of many conspiracies that has invaded the human race and will continue to invade. And even though you think it doesn't affect you because you don't read this stuff on Facebook, keep in mind it does affect people around you, and it will certainly affect somebody close to you. Maybe not super close, but it's going to affect somebody in your family. The reason that fella, I forgot his name, attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband was because he had the right mindset to be pulled in by QAnon nonsense and into believing all this stuff that, if it had any factual proof, would already be in court, right? So what do you do when you're caught in that? Well, step number one is stop. If you are one of those people that you're getting inflammatory information and it's causing you to be upset and feel like you need to go out and attack somebody or invade the Capitol or do some other kind of violence, shooting at electrical stations, whatever you think the answer might be, the most likely outcome, and I say this with compassion, the most likely outcome is you're going to end up in jail. Even though it sounds very convincing. That's what con artistry is all about. It's about gaining your confidence first. And one way to do that is to act like they're letting you in on something special. They're going to let you in on the inside information. They're going to be like, hey, I got some special information that you ain't never heard of. And then they'll proceed to tell you just about anything, because all they do when that thing doesn't happen, right? A whole bunch of stuff was supposed to happen with QAnon nonsense, but it didn't happen. You know why? Because it was made up. They're not going to rush in and arrest all the Democrats. It's never going to happen. They're not going to rush in and arrest all the Republicans either. Now, Mr. Trump may actually be looking at charges, and y'all are going to have to wrap your head around that. I'm sorry. I know you love him, but there's probably some evidence that's going to get him convicted. It'll be crazy, but this is probably what's going to happen. That's not the point. The point is, what can you do if you're trapped? What can you do if you are trapped by what I would call QAnon nonsense? And pardon me, I'm just fixing some of my filters on my other screens here because part of my job here is I'm the editor of this show as well as the host. So I'm going to camera 2, and I'm going to wander over here, and I want to say a few things to people who are either caught in a conspiracy, and a lot of that happens to people on Facebook. That's why I'm going after Facebook. It may not happen to you, right? You may not be the target, but somebody you know probably is. And if you are in a situation where you're having a hard time because of what you're reading on Facebook, or because of YouTube videos, or because of Instagram videos, or because of TikTok videos, or what have you, it doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter what the type of social media is. People who want to influence you are basically paying to find out if you're susceptible. And a lot of people are susceptible just because that's how their brain chemistry is set up, right? It's not that hard to figure out if they show you an article that vaccines will make your testes swell up or some other similar nonsense. And if you react to that big, they're going to give you more of those articles. Now, some of you don't react to those things and you don't read them. And in a way, that makes it worse, because then what happens is Facebook now knows. And the advertisers, we'll call them, the malicious advertisers who want to convince you to believe something, they know that they shouldn't waste their money on these people over here. But these people over here click the angry face, right? Now we're going to get them. We're going to bombard them and bombard them and bombard them. And what's happening is it's almost like a zombie army is being created. And the people that are being bombarded don't always have the wherewithal to pull out of that. So for those of you who don't use Facebook or social media, which is unlikely since you're on social media watching this, it's not directed at you, but it will screw up society around you. So what I would like everyone to do is to think about, how do we make Facebook accountable? Not how do we destroy Facebook, because there are great things about Facebook. There are people I know that have local businesses on Facebook, and they love it. It helps them. It's the fact that Facebook is a product that's getting people killed, literally. Getting people killed by making them believe things that aren't true. For example, the election was stolen. 5 people died because of that. It's not all on Facebook. It's partly on Facebook, though, because what does Facebook do? Facebook spreads the rumor around. Their argument is, this is Facebook's argument, we don't come up with this stuff. No, but you spread it around. Imagine if you were at high school and you wanted to start a rumor about somebody because you were mad at them for whatever reason. You could start a rumor and just start telling people, right? Tell a few people. It might catch on if your rumor was juicy enough. But you go to Facebook and you can say, hey, I want to make sure this catches on. And Facebook says, oh, I know just the right people to give it to. And they proceed to disseminate that rumor, that half-truth, that lie, that potentially fatal encouragement, if you want to think of it that way. So Facebook is culpable. I think we need to hold them accountable. I hope you'll join me in doing that. Oh, I lost my train of thought there. I do that a lot on this show, and I do not apologize for it. If you want a show where some a-hole stays on topic the whole time and doesn't have any brain farts, then you just gonna have to find a different show. So they're tricking you. They're tricking you on Facebook. The first thing you should do if you're caught up in it, if you are one of the people or you care about somebody that's caught up in it, is first of all, take it easy. Don't freak out. Part of what Facebook does is they get you freaked out, okay? when you're in that state of mind, when you're all fired up, when you're all mentally stressed and anxious, you can't really think it through. So step 1, calm down. Step 2, stop looking at it, because you're not going to calm down if you keep looking at it. Step 3, talk to somebody that you trust, especially someone who doesn't necessarily agree with all of these ideas. So if you're really caught up in a panicked, like some of these people that were going to, kidnap Governor Whitmer, they were, or the guy that shot a whole bunch of innocent people in El Paso, they were in the throes of believing what they had read on Facebook and seen on YouTube and what have you. They're all there. It doesn't matter where you got it. It all kind of leads you to the same inflammatory stuff. So cut yourself off from the source of it. Stop reacting to anything online. Don't give thumbs up. Don't give angry faces. Don't give them anything. And then call, or preferably in person, talk to somebody that you trust and just say, hey, look, I don't want to start a big argument, but I'm really upset about what I've been reading. What do you think? And just try to stay calm and try to listen. And if you're a family member of somebody that's caught up in QAnon, don't attack them. That'll do nothing. That'll drive them further into the arms of QAnon, because QAnon gives people brotherhood. Conspiracies give people a sense of control. It gives them a sense of belonging to something. So if you hope to pull them out, try to bring it to a very calm level and just say, you know what, I know that, for example, that Mr. Trump said the election was stolen, but I just don't believe it. I understand why you believe it, but I don't believe it. And the reason I don't believe it is because of this. And then you have an actual exchange of ideas. So if you care about somebody that's caught in that rabbit hole, try to give them an idea that'll act as a life vest. And if you are caught in that rabbit hole, walk towards the more reasonable people who might help you calm down and think through, okay, if there was really that much voter fraud, Mr. Trump's excellent team of lawyers would have taken it right in and prosecuted it. He really did have the best lawyers in the country. He would have prosecuted it immediately. He would have filed charges immediately. They would have shown the evidence, and the judge would have slammed the gavel down. And I don't know what we would have done if there was that much fraud. But it turns out, people, it's really hard to do that kind of fraud. And we don't even have to debate it right now. I just want you to realize, if you're caught in a rabbit hole where you think you have to go physically attack someone because of what's going on at the border, or because of COVID, or because of election fraud, what I want you to think about in a reasonable way, I'm not judging you. And liberals, don't be judgy. Liberals hurt their own cause sometimes because they get too up their own asses about it. And they're like, you're wrong, you're wrong. And everybody needs to chill. The problem with the QAnon sense is it gets you agitated. Once you're agitated, that's when they know they can keep you engaged, okay? That's the whole game. The whole game is engagement, which means keeping you online, which means keeping your eyeballs glued to the page, because then Facebook can say with very high accuracy, hey, if you want to push this inflammatory content, here are your people. Now, sometimes you have to guess based on like other traits, like, oh, this person likes Donald Trump. Are they more or less likely to believe a QAnon sense type article? Well, probably more. Now, they've dialed it back. I think Facebook realized what they did, and they've dialed it back. But I think when the smoke clears, we're going to find out that they knew a lot more than they were telling us, which always happens with giant corporations, and that's why you got to hold them accountable. Now, I got to go. I hope you like this show. If you have a friend or a loved one that is being bombarded mentally, the first thing I like to say to people what I try to say to my clients, if they bring it up, is I say, look, hey, it's your life. You can believe whatever you want. But it sounds like they're making you believe stuff by scaring you. And it doesn't mean you're not smart. A lot of liberals get up on their haunches and are like, can't they even tell that they're being tricked? And it's like, it's not about that. Liberals get tricked too. It's about, are they hitting that emotional tone, that part of your brain that makes you scared enough so that you stop being able to think through reasonable solutions. This is the Brother Seamus Show. I'm your brother Seamus. I do like lasers and fog machines. I think it just looks cool. Yeah! Are you ready to rock? Yeah! I want everybody to vote for whomever they want to vote for, but I want everyone to be reasonable and safe and realize that if we don't bring the temperature down, violence is sure to follow. We've done this before. We know where this leads. Attacking each other. Republicans aren't the enemy. Democrats aren't the enemy. Extremism is the enemy. And extremism has found a new home on social media, people. Extremism has a new way into your brains. And I think if we don't make them, I'm not even suggesting criminal liability here, people. I'm just suggesting that Facebook take at least some responsibility for the fact that a lot of people have been harmed. A lot of people have been harmed because of their interactions on Facebook that led them into a direction of believing QAnon sense. There's measurable harm, in my humble opinion, and I need to go, but before I do, let me share. If you want to support us, I hope you will. You can go to humansfordemocracy.org. There it is right there. You can go to humansfordemocracy.org and click on this button, and that will help us run social media ads that will both promote this show and promote counter-speech messages in general. So that's Humans for Democracy. That, all the money we get on that is used to run ads to help keep people better informed, is the best way to think of it. And if you want to look at the ads, they're over here. Full transparency. We will share how much we spend on any one ad. I know some of you don't agree with what these ads say, but that's okay. Kick-Ass Yard Signs, if you want some merch, Science Matters, Walk More, Drive Less, just go to kickassyardsigns.com. I should have a little music during this. kickassyardsigns.com. A lot of merch. Some of it might piss you off. Some of it I'm not sure about even, but it's our merch site, and I'm gonna keep an eye on it. If you want to buy a T-shirt in many different colors that says "Immigrants Make Great Americans," you can just go to the Humans for Democracy page on bonfire.com, people. bonfire.com/Humans for Democracy, and you'll see our merch. Right now it's just these shirts, but a lot of other merch is over on Kick-Ass Yard Signs, and both of those help us. There's a link for this in the description of tonight's show. At least I think there's a link for it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Keep calm and carry on. And have a good night.